apparently we as the United States are slowly getting surrounded by Russian ships. And why isn't the news talking about this? We're talking about Russian warships, nuclear warheads, and hypersonic missiles, and it's not even on the news. And Russian ships off the coast of Hawaii, not even 25 miles. And this has been going on for weeks. And it's just starting to emerge in the news now, I think, because there's so many of us out there reporting on it. They probably feel like they need to start getting on it. And of course, numerous reports of them being up off the coast of Alaska. Many people reporting that they continually get chased off. But if you're anything like me, what you're noticing is a trend of them just closing in. So like I said, I'm seeing all kinds of reports. There's only a handful of YouTuber preppers out there that are reporting on this. We apparently have Russian nuclear missile ships off the coast. We've got many reports up near Alaska. We've got reports of them being off the Hawaiian coast, not even 25 miles. And the new one creating all the buzz is the one off the East Coast, supposedly a Russian hypersonic nuclear tipped missile ship with nuclear warheads and hypersonic missiles. And this one is expected to only be around 100 miles off the coast. So is it just me, or does it look like we're slowly getting surrounded? And more so, what's the probability of an attack? And if they did happen to get crazy and pull a trigger, what are the effects? Let's go over it. Okay, so let's start with Alaska, talk about that for a minute, then we'll go to Hawaii, and then we're going to go to the East Coast, which is the most concerning one of them all. So most of us have seen the reports of the ships off of the Alaskan coast, which is, I think, within about 100 miles. And this happens to be Russian ships and Chinese ships. And the reports of those really started ramping up at the end of September into October, which was just a few months ago. Here in this article of Newsweek, you can see it's titled Russian and Chinese Navy ships spotted less than 100 miles off the coast. Now, I'd have to say that spotting these ships up off of the Alaskan coast is probably more common, not as much as being 25 miles off of the Hawaiian coast or 100 miles off of the East Coast. Real quick, this article said a group of Russians and Chinese warships were spotted in the Bering Sea several dozen miles off of the Alaskan island. And this started September 19th. The U.S. Coast Guard said on Monday, confirming Moscow and Beijing's second joint patrol in 12 months. Now, this wasn't just a couple ships. I believe there was 7 or more ships. The crew of Legend-class cutter USCGC Kimball monitoring a surface action group comprising at least 7 ships, 4 of the Russian Navy and 3 of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. And this was according to the Coast Guard's 17th District. A statement said by the Chinese Navy's Type 055 destroyer Nha Trang, which the U.S. classifies as a guided missile cruiser, sailed approximately 75 nautical miles north of Kiska Island. The Nanchang was joined by 2 other Chinese vessels and 4 Russian naval vessels. And they weren't separated, they were all in single file order, as they operated in the U.S. Exclusive Economic Zone. Here's a map of the U.S. CG District 17 area of operation, so it gives you an idea of what area and what waters they were traveling in. So what we know is that they're breaking the rules. They're entering in zones that they're not supposed to be in. Is it by accident? Absolutely not. And more concerning, across the board, the Russians and the Chinese seem to be working pretty tight together, especially when they're traveling in single file lines together. In this photo right here, listed in the Newsweek article, you can see that the U.S. Coast Guard is spotting the foreign naval vessel resembling the Russian Navy. This picture right here, a destroyer from the Chinese People's Liberation Army. Now you can definitely see that these are not ships that are like scientific explorers that got off course. These are warships. These are fighting ships. So I read through a lot of comments. Some people think that it's war strategy. Other people say, don't worry about it.